All right.
Mhm.
Here we are, and yet another homage shot. Um, this one took a while to make. I think, huh?
Yes.
Months. It was months and months.
Yes. At first, we have no idea how to do it, and the result is not good.
Yeah, it didn't look good for a long time. I think that's the
Yeah.
problem. I think we almost just decided not to do this shot because it was so
Mhm.
complex. I'm glad we didn't stop though. I'm glad we didn't give up on it because I feel like it's quite a special shot. I think
Mhm.
in relation to how much it captures the feel of the original film. You found some really interesting ways of texturing again with these, huh?
Mhm.
Like you changed the
Yes.
angle or something like that.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, we can talk about that when we get into the file too, because I think that was really cool. We also did a like a collage with photo textures too. I think in post, right? Did you track the camera and put in some like stuff through a mask or something?
Yes.
His background stuff.
Mhm.
Yeah. I think the one part that was kind of complicated and difficult was the modeling as well, because all this stuff like you can't just go online and find this stuff. You have to actually make it. So all these things, there's like bits and pieces that are somewhat kit bashed, but a lot of this stuff is like all these cables and tubes and everything. You'll see the file like it's all modeled, it's all together.
Mhm.
And it's yeah, it was again, it's like representing what Otomo does naturally with his art and drawings is incredibly hard to do really well in CGI, and it just takes so long, takes
Mhm.
so much time to get to a
Yes.
good part to a good place. I think this is like we used a lot of the same techniques almost that we learned from the past on this one too, from the other
Mhm.
shots, the other building shots, because this one kind of came together towards the end, right?
Yes.
Yeah. It was, I think this was like a month before we were supposed to be done. It was kind of coming along, and it was kind of a really long process to get there. Here's a screenshot during the production of things and kind of looking at all the geo and stuff. So all that stuff that wasn't in that shot is again just kind of photo textures. And I think it kind of worked together really well where you had the photo textures balancing. I think without them, it feels very empty, right? It feels very
Yes.
CGI. But all the extra bits and using photos again, I think is really great. Here's the original and some of the texturing, and then yeah, our deliciously organized files. We both work really sporadically, so we were kind of just chaotic about it. The production of it. This is kind of how it looked in the beginning. This is probably like halfway through us building it out, and we were
Mhm.
like, "Oh, it looks good," and then it's like, "Oh, we tried some other things," and then I think we ended up adding a little bit more light that than was in here. I think there was
Yes.
it's very dark. We ended up adding more light, and I think you just get that from the scatter of light too that happens naturally.
Mhm.
So if you like look at the file here, so here's the working file, and there's just a lot of stuff in here. I don't even want to try and open up some of this stuff. Sometimes the file like it's like okay, once it's done, I'm like I'm not even going to open that again. It's because there's a lot of really cool things in here, but it's just there's so much stuff in here. I think there's some bits and pieces that we used from Vitaly's Kit Bash kit too, pieces that
Yes.
were just better just to use what he had made, and then some of the rest is just like pieces from the model, from the original buildings too, and then some new buildings that I think Mike you modeled a lot of these things down here, right? Put these
Yes.
stuff
I did
together.
a lot of this kind of simple models. Yeah.
Yeah, but it all kind of tied together. It worked really well, and I think the trick was just to get the textures to look right, and then making sure that the scene had depth and scale, and that's really tricky to do, especially with texturing that isn't tileable. You have to kind of manage it so you don't have a lot of replication. So you have a little bit of it here, but it's like it's difficult to to get everything perfect. But yeah, I think this is quite an interesting shot. Oh, I remember modeling the pipes and stuff. I was like, oh man, there's
Type
moments where
is yeah. It's
it's like when we would pass things back and forth and like, okay, well, tonight I'm going to model the pipes. All right, fun. I'll see you later. But it's once I put the music on and I started going and making them, it became kind of fun and putting them together and looking at the source material and trying to get it to look right. It was just a part of the journey. Until it kind of came together, and then I would get exhausted from it and I would send it back to you, and then you'd work on it and you get tired of it, and then you'd send it to me, and then, I think what was cool too is what happened often is one of us would get burnt out, or I like to call it like blind. You kind of get blind to what the shot needs. And again, I think what's really important about being able to collaborate together is when one of us would go blind, we'd be able to share. We would go, okay, hand it over to me, and then I'll change it, or I'll take it to you. And I know I mentioned that in the other one, but it's a real part of this whole project is being able to pass it back and forth until it got to where it needed to be, which is this shot, this final has a slight grade and some extra post work done to it to kind of add in all that extra feel and flavor. And yeah, I think we tried to just do it as close as we possibly could, within reason. And this was one of those really difficult shots. I think it's probably one of the more difficult shots in the piece, huh? I can't remember.
Yes.
So
it's
difficult, we almost stopped.
Yes, that's true.
It was so bad that we almost didn't do it. So, but I'm glad we stuck to it, and I think the results at the end, it really came together. It's funny, again, like doing this it's a total retrospect, looking back at all these things, because I think for you and I, you were in the middle of building, like you were starting your freelance career, and you were building another title sequence for another speaking event for Off Milan, and I had just a billion things going on with all my other projects and films and stuff. And I mean, during the production of this, we both released our own films and all these kind of things too. So it's like, it was constantly like, okay, what are we going to do on Akira this week? And then, all right, we'll just do this one shot. And sometimes we'd go really fast and sometimes we'd go very slow. But yeah, this shot just took its time. I think this shot took a total of a couple months off and on. Yeah. I think total. I think it wouldn't take that long if we were just working on it full time and completely focused. I think we could probably do it pretty quickly. But I like that it took time, to be completely honest. Sometimes I like that we had time to go work on our own work and then come back to this and use it as a training ground to get better. I don't know. What do you
Yes.
feel the same?
Yes, feel the same. Because when we're doing this stuff, we can learn a lot rather than a current job. Sometimes current job is quite fast, so I cannot learn new things.
Yeah, can't add all those extra little details and things to it because it's just there's not enough time for it. So yeah, this is a fun one though. I think that's good, right? I don't know if we missed anything, but yeah, models are just, most of it's modeled by us, and then big thanks to Vitaly and his kit bash kit that we used, and then just texturing again is kind of a similar process from the last one, which is just stacking and layering and getting the textures looking good. We used the volume. I don't know. Actually, we didn't use volume in this one. The light was natural.
Plane.
Yeah,
you
that's it. The plane. Oh, you used the damn plane. Yeah. Yeah, with the specular material. Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, yes. Man, that damn plane. But it actually works really well, and it's not too bad. The render times aren't too bad too on here. You can see it. There is still a lot of noise. When I click on this, basically what's green is rendered, and what isn't is still unrendered and undone. So, I mean, at 3,500 samples, almost half of it isn't rendered. But by using Neat Video, it really helps in the process of reducing some of that noise, so that our render time stayed down pretty well. This is a process of trying to find what we can do and how we can do it. Again, I'm not using all 6 of my cards. Usually it cuts it in half. It cuts the time right in half when I add the other 3 cards. But yeah, no, I'm really happy that we did this shot, and I'm glad that we finished it and got through it, because I think it was worth it in the end. So yeah. Good?
Yeah. Good.
Awesome. Cool. Let's move on to the next shot.
Yeah.